What if your family has been carrying an Irish story for generations without ever realizing it? It sounds unlikely. After all, surely you would know if your ancestors came from Ireland. Family history is supposed to be passed down. Names are remembered, stories are told, origins are preserved. But that isn't always what happens. Across Britain, North America, Australia, and beyond, millions of people have Irish ancestors they know nothing about. Some connections disappeared during migration. Others were hidden behind changing surnames, forgotten records, or relatives who simply stopped talking about where the family came from. Yet history has a habit of leaving clues behind. A surname, a middle name, a family tradition, an old census record, a DNA match from the other side of the world. Each clue may seem insignificant on its own, but when several appear together, they can reveal a story that has been waiting generations to be rediscovered. Today we're exploring 7 hidden signs that your family may have Irish ancestry. Some are obvious, others are surprisingly easy to miss. And the final sign has helped countless people solve family mysteries that remained unsolved for more than a century. Let's begin. The first clue is often hiding in plain sight, your surname. Most people assume their surname tells a straightforward story, but Irish surnames are among the most altered surnames in the English-speaking world. During the 19th century, millions of Irish people left their homeland. Some settled in Liverpool, others arrived in Glasgow, Manchester, London, Boston, New York, Toronto, Sydney, and countless other cities. As they settled into new communities, their names often changed. Sometimes the changes were small. O'Brien became O'Brien. O'Neill became O'Neill. McCarthy became McCarthy. But in many cases, the changes were much more dramatic. Clerks misspelled names, employers simplified them, families adapted them. Within only a few generations, descendants were carrying surnames that looked very different from those their ancestors had used in Ireland. One family researcher believed his family had always been English. The surname certainly looked English, yet while tracing records backward through Liverpool, he discovered that the family name had been altered twice before finally arriving at its modern spelling. The original records revealed an Irish family that nobody alive remembered. This is why surnames such as Murphy, Kelly, Sullivan, Doyle, Walsh, Flynn, Brennan, Donovan, Fitzgerald, and Ryan often attract attention from genealogists. They are not proof, but they can be the first breadcrumb on a much larger trail. The second clue can be found in something many families overlook completely: naming patterns. Have you ever noticed the same names appearing repeatedly in your family tree? A grandfather named Patrick, a son named Patrick, a grandson named Patrick. Generation after generation, traditional Irish families often followed naming customs that honored grandparents, parents, saints, and relatives. As a result, certain names appeared repeatedly over decades or even centuries. Researchers regularly encounter families where the same first names survive for extraordinary lengths of time. One family discovered 7 generations of men carrying the name Michael. Another found that every eldest daughter for more than a century had been named Bridget. Nobody knew why the tradition simply continued. Only later did family records reveal a direct connection to rural Ireland where the naming pattern had originally begun. Sometimes traditions survive, long after people forget their purpose. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the names families continue to pass down. The third clue involves location, not where your family lives today. But where your ancestors settled, imagine an Irish family arriving in Liverpool during the 1840s. The father finds work near the docks, the children grow up in England, one son moves to Manchester, a granddaughter eventually settles in London, a century passes. The family becomes entirely British in identity. The Irish connection slowly fades from memory, yet the root remains visible in the records. This pattern occurred thousands of times. Large Irish communities developed in Liverpool, Glasgow, Manchester, London, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Toronto, Sydney, and Melbourne. If several generations of your family lived in one of these major Irish migration centers, it may be worth investigating further. Many people discover Irish ancestry not because of a surname or DNA test, but because they notice their ancestors repeatedly appearing in places with large Irish communities. Sometimes, geography tells the story before the records do. The fourth clue is one of the most overlooked: church records. Most people researching family history focus entirely on parents and grandparents. Experienced genealogists often look somewhere else: godparents, marriage witnesses, baptism sponsors. The reason is simple. These people were often relatives: a forgotten aunt, a cousin, a brother, a family friend from the same village back in Ireland. One researcher spent years trying to identify the origins of a mysterious ancestor who seemed to appear from nowhere. Census records offered no answers. Birth records revealed little. Then she examined a baptism record. Now, the godparent's surname matched a family living in County Clare. Further investigation revealed an entire network of relatives who had migrated together. A mystery that had lasted decades was solved because someone paid attention to a name written in the margin of a church register. Sometimes the people standing beside your ancestors reveal more than the ancestors themselves. If you're enjoying this video so far, take a moment to like the video and let us know in the comments how many of these clues you've already spotted in your own family history. Now let's continue. The fifth clue comes from occupation. For many Irish immigrants, survival depended on physically demanding work. Railways, canals, mines, construction projects, dockyards. These jobs helped build the modern world. Among the most famous workers were the navvies. The word originally referred to the laborers who built canals and later railways across Britain. The work was dangerous and exhausting. Accidents were common, conditions were harsh, yet thousands of Irish families depended upon it. Entire communities grew around these industries. If your ancestors worked as navvies, dock workers, miners, railway laborers, or construction workers during the 19th century, that occupation may be another clue worth investigating. By itself, it proves nothing. Combined with other evidence, it can become a powerful part of the story. The sixth clue is one that previous generations never had access to: DNA. For centuries, family historians depended entirely on written records. Today, genetics can reveal connections that paper records never could. Many people take a DNA test expecting confirmation of what they already know. Instead, they discover something completely unexpected. An Irish ethnicity estimate, dozens of DNA matches living in Ireland, clusters of relatives connected to counties they have never even heard of. One man believed his ancestry was entirely English. When his results arrived, he was shocked to find a significant Irish component. Curious, he began examining his DNA matches. Again and again, relatives appeared with roots in County Mayo. The evidence kept growing. Eventually, historical records confirmed that one branch of his family had emigrated from Ireland generations earlier. Nobody in the family remembered. The records were incomplete. The stories had disappeared. But the DNA remembered. And then we arrive at the final clue. The clue that has solved countless family mysteries, family traditions. Because ancestry often survives in culture long after it disappears from memory, perhaps your family has strange superstitions nobody can explain. Warnings about disturbing whitethorn trees, stories of mysterious spirits, beliefs passed down through generations without anyone knowing where they came from. Maybe your family still prepares traditional foods that originated in Ireland. Maybe certain sayings, customs, or stories have survived despite nobody remembering their origins. Genealogists frequently encounter a remarkable pattern. A family appears entirely English, Scottish, Canadian, Australian, or American. Generation after generation seems rooted in that country. Then suddenly, buried in an old census record, there it is. One simple line: born in Ireland, just one ancestor, one forgotten individual, one clue. Yet that single discovery changes everything. One researcher spent years trying to explain unusual traditions that had survived in her family for generations. Nobody knew where they originated. Nobody knew who introduced them. Then she discovered a great-great-grandmother born in County Clare. The traditions matched customs common in the region she had left behind. The woman herself had been forgotten, but her influence remained, her culture survived. Her stories survived, and eventually they led her descendants back to Ireland. So how many of these signs matched your family? Maybe only one, perhaps several. Or maybe you've been noticing these clues for years without realizing what they could mean. Remember, no single clue automatically proves Irish ancestry. But when multiple clues begin appearing together, they often point toward a story waiting to be uncovered. The next time you look through old photographs, family records, census documents, church registers, or DNA results, pay attention to the small details. Because sometimes the greatest mystery isn't hidden in a history book. Sometimes it's hidden in your own family tree. And sometimes the answer has been there all along, waiting for someone to notice it. If you recognized any of these signs in your own family history, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into forgotten ancestry, hidden bloodlines, and the remarkable stories that connect us to the past. Because every family has a story, the question is whether you've discovered yours yet.